Session of the day. I know it's been a long day and you all are eager to finish this, but we have two very interesting papers in this session. We have two speakers, Muhammed and Sheeba. So Muhammed Siad, let me introduce the speakers right away. He's a postgraduate student in the Department of Sociology at the University of Calicut, and he works on with various academic authorities working in social and political arenas. And he's going to present a paper titled Authored Validation of Online Knowledge Resources, Needs, Challenges, and Feasibility. The other speaker we have today is Sheeba. She is an assistant professor at B.Ed College G.G.S.I, and also a research scholar who's doing PhD from the Department of Teacher Training and Non-Formal Education in Jamia, in the Jamia Millia Islamia University. So she interestingly holds two master's degrees, one in biosciences and another in education. So she will present the paper Time Use Study of Use of Socrative app by smart teachers and smart learners. So she has a presentation, a slide, so she goes first. Let's start with you.
Okay. Yeah, the time use study so actually.
We have 15 minutes for each presentation, and then we'll have about 15 minutes for each.
25 minutes for presentation.
But you said we have to finish by 5.
Oh, we've already. Okay.
Fine.
Let's start off. Make sure that
okay.
Continue to them.
All right.
The word time use means how we are utilizing our time, and how today's children or the smart teachers or the smart learners are spending time. And my area of concern is how we are spending our time on our favorite device, that is the smartphone. And the smartphone app, particularly in the study which we are dealing with, is the Socrative app. Now we can log into that app. Now, according to the IG-FLAT survey, as you can see, the age between 18 to 48 years, that is, all our young children, adults, and all the college-going children, they come in this age, and they are 40% of the users, 48% of the users, they all are using in India the smartphones and the smartphone apps. And this study will benefit teachers and students, the organizations, especially those who are having the records of the statistical data, the time use organizations which are keeping the records of the time, how we all are spending our time. For time use data, the policy makers, the tablets and the smartphones may be introduced in Indian school systems also, the app developers, the smartphone companies also we can bring equity or like for the disadvantaged groups, women, poor children, physically handicapped children. And this study draws attention of academia, governments and non-profit organizations to the growing trend of using mobile applications. This study will also guide teachers and schools to adopt and also adapt latest technology and use it in a beneficial way. Now there are two objectives in my study. The first one is to explore the time use. That is how we are actually spending time on our mobile devices, especially the smartphone and its apps, particularly by the smart learners. Smart learners which I am dealing in this study are the B.Ed students. And the smart teachers are the teachers, the professors, maybe assistant or guest, or the professors who are taking the B.Ed people in service teachers. To study the perceptions of smart learners and the smart teachers. This is my second objective. Now the research methodology which I have used is its exploratory research study. I have used the triangulation because I have dealt with both the methods, the qualitative one also and the quantitative one. Qualitatively, a focus group discussion is used. I have actually taken 3 mediums. The heterogeneous group is composed of 3 mediums. The first is the English medium B.Ed students, second is Hindi medium, and the third one is the Urdu medium. Now I have observed how these 3 heterogeneous groups differ while even if they are digitally literate, how they differ in their perceptions, in their time use while using the smartphone devices. Now this study was conducted in the following regions, especially in Delhi. Only this is delimited to Delhi region only, and the questionnaire is self-made and was used to collect the descriptive data. An information sheet and the questionnaire was distributed to all the smart learners. The smart learners, as I told you, they are the B.Ed in service teachers and the smart teachers. Smart means the one who are using the smartphones. Inclusion criteria: the groups of heterogeneous students who were smart learners. First group is English medium students, the second is the Hindi medium, and the third group, the Urdu medium one, I have done only the focus group discussion. Now the sampling technology and the methodology. The sample was selected in and around Delhi, and about 50 respondents were chosen. Out of them only 40 responded, and 10 from Hindi medium and 10 from English from each university. Two universities I have taken. One is the Jamia Millia Islamia and the other one is the St. Lawrence College of Higher Education, Guru Gobind Singh University. And 2 teachers were chosen from each university. Now the data is collected using a survey form or a questionnaire which was developed by me, and the data, okay, the focus group discussion was given to only the Urdu medium students. The data analysis further was done by using a SPSS technique. The delimitation of the study was, the research was only delimited to the use of smartphones, and the respondent population will include only the B.Ed students from Jamia Millia and from Guru Gobind Singh University. And the present study will not include use of older devices such as television, desktop PCs, radio, CD players, DVD players, etc. And it will not include the digitally illiterate people. That is, those who cannot use the smartphones or the apps, if they are not digitally savvy, I haven't included them in my study. So the present study will be delimited to Delhi region only. Socrative teachers, they refer to the teachers who use Socrative app. I think if you have, all of you have attended the previous workshop, ma'am has very excellently, she has told how to use that Socrative app in learning as a teacher login also, as a student login also. So this app also helps to understand and visualize the students in better ways, and uses many features which makes the learning easier, flexible, less time consuming, simple and easily accessible in many ways. It helps in creating quick evaluation, feedback, thereby reducing the workload of teachers also. The smart learners refers to users of Socrative app on smartphones. Now positive motives. I have developed a questionnaire and which will be dealing with the positive motives at the time you study. Both. Like I have already discussed, I have 2 objectives. One is to see the perceptions of the learners and the teachers. Similarly, the positive motive. What are the positive motives? Like how this technology or the app culture or the usage of apps on smartphone is benefiting us or motivating us towards a positive way. That is in our educational attainment. How is it helping us? I will be discussing all those points in depth. Now, these are the information seeking criteria, new ideas, sustaining interest in education, giving freedom to express opinion. For example, some children, they are not vocal, but if you ask them virtually, they'll be 100% active. And makes the boring topic interesting, gives edge over others, saving time, improves the mode of instruction, and helps or assistant learning. Time use educational activities refers to time spent on Socrative app by smart learners and the smart teachers. If you can see, this is the questionnaire developed for the positive motives, and there are 10 positive motives which I observed. Majority, that is the 70% of the learners, they given the answer that they are always getting benefited or going towards the positive side of the technology while they are using the particular app or especially the Socrative app. Only 20% of them they gave the rarely answer. Now the next is how often the usage of smartphone app help in attaining the following motives. Again, there are another 10 questions which were answered differently by different users. And now, this one is for the teachers. Especially this app helped in evaluation and actually it's reducing the workload of the teacher. Like for instance, a teacher can create online quiz which can be answered instantly. The last one on perception of the smart learners. These are another 10 questions which were answered different. Now in my focus group analysis, I found that Urdu medium students, they were finding it difficult to use apps. What is happening? The language was becoming a barrier. While I gave the quiz, there were few questions which they know, but they were not able to answer them because they were not understand. Like in the earlier session also we were discussing how we can convert. But for example, if I am giving you a question and you have to give me a rapid fire answer. Now, if you go onto some other app and then you interpret the language or finding the meaning of that question and then you answer. I'll jump to, by that time I'll be on the third question and you are going to miss the two questions. Okay, so this is one way this app is lagging. It doesn't have a feature of translating. So for those Urdu medium students it was difficult, and the other feature which was negative in that, for example, there are certain features in Socrative app which is very good, but it's like a mirage. When you go inside, then it will ask you for money. The next level you can go only if you pay money. So most of the students they prefer WhatsApp rather than using Socrative app, which is why to pay money. Majority of the Hindi medium learners, they have given different percentages of answers, and that is the analysis. If anything else.
Continue to take the questions. So, Srapana, Mamusya. Where is that?
I'm very glad to stand in front of you with the topic of the authorized validation of online knowledge resources, needs, challenges, and feasibility. As we know, the online education is growing day by day, and it's now reached into the skyscraper. Then we can see so many online educational resources, but we don't know which of them are more empirical and more useful and more accurate. Then we have to check the accuracy and the reliability and the credibility of this kind of every online knowledge resources. My paper is on this topic. How can check? How can validate this kind of online knowledge resources? There are more featured and unfeatured online learning evaluation facilities also, but but a large quantity of deep fits was already maintained in this online knowledge arena. And also it is the specific time of searching forward to seeking our educational informational remedies into the internet. This most welcoming factor is that a sea of students are filing in finding and recognizing the authentic resources. Here, my paper is scrutinizing the current validation authorities and their mode of operation, especially I approach critically the current validating agencies of the online knowledge resources. First of all, we can check the need of a validation. Need of validation. Here, there are three terms: the validation and the verification and the authentication. What are the differences between these three terms? I using the validation. I am conducting the validation only here. That is, the validate is that to prove that something is true or correct. At the same time, the verification is that the checking is something is true. Okay. Then the potentiality of the knowledge-based verification is that according to E-QUAL, he is saying in his paper on models and evolution, this is that the Wikipedia is a very large and successful example of world-level knowledge reports, as the number of Wikipedia articles and contributors grows at a very fast pace. There are also increasing disputes occurring among the contributors. The disputes often happen in articles with controversial content. In this article, he says that there are so many drawbacks in the Wikipedia also. This is the very importance of this topic and this paper. Here, this term, this validation, this need is firstly suggested by the Mikhail G. He suggested firstly in his paper Acquisition and Validation of Knowledge from Data. He says that the online knowledges are only the data or informations, but the converting into the knowledge is our duty. This is the duty of the readers. And then we can compare it with the contradiction theory of the synthesis. And by this, there can be in internet the thesis and the antithesis. By the readers have to convert and to make a clash between this thesis and antithesis in their mind and make the synthesis. That is the accurate knowledge. That is the reliable and accurate. Then when we checking the need of validation, that can be technical and intellectual challenges in this area of online education. But the technical challenges are very famous, we don't want to check here. But the intellectual challenges like the lack of, as we said here, the lack of truthfulness and credibility and reliability. And other problem is that intellectual challenges is that the questions and answer, the lack of question answer and chance. This is very important to create the knowledge. As we know, the questions and answers making the accurate knowledge. And other one is that the issues related to the synthesis, as I said here. Then when we seeking the remedies of this kind of online knowledge, the problems related to the online knowledge, online education, we can think about making an authorized validating agency in this area. And when we checking the current situation in this area, we couldn't to see any authorized validating agency. Then in this contextual area, the feasibility of authorized validation is the most complex thing, as more online agencies were filed in making it in good manner. Then we can see only the one attempt in this area is that related to the OER, the Open Educational Resources. It is the only one area in agency in this area. It's not an agency, but it's an attempt. Done in many countries worldwide. Then we can identify the OER, the Open Educational Resources. OER is a relatively new phenomenon which may be seen as a part of the larger trend towards opens in higher education, including more well-known and established. The term Open Educational Resources first came to use in 2002 at a conference hosted by UNESCO. The participants of that forum, they defined the OER as the open provision of educational resources enabled by information and communication technologies for consultation, use and adaptation for a community of users of non-commercial purposes. Here the main feature of this agency is that they provide only more truthful knowledges, truthful informations to the public. Then in mapping of OER, there can be seen so many countries like China, France and Japan and Australia, Brazil, Canada. When we come into India, in India there the OER have only some hand in this area. The Digital Library of India. It provides so many academic articles in this part and so many books also, but it's very few as a big country. The main reason of the lack of this kind of validating agency in this online knowledge resources is that the problem of sustainability. This is a very huge attempt to keep it sustainable. There may be needed a heavy effort to become it sustainable. The funding problems and the main problem is the funding problem, and the other one is the technical problems like the resources should be stored in distributed databases, and there will be one centrally maintained inbox of resources, and more problems. And the other cause of the lacking is that the content models, the problem of content. It is mainly related to the licensing problem. Does the published material remain the property of this person who produced it, or another one? Can authors request material to be removed from the user site, or can material be updated or amended only upon author approval? And so many problems. The other reason is that the staffing problem. To make sufficient staffs in this validating agency is another problem. Then when we critically concluding these challenges, we can reach in a conclusion is that there should be a governmental or non-governmental attempt to or agency to cure this problem of non-accuracy. Then the apparently contradictory trends that were mentioned in this introduction to this paper is that we can understand from this that the growing competition among the universities, and on the other that they do not protect their intellectual capital, but they share it for free, and might not be so contradictory after all. And it is the main problem of this area of existed validating agency. Then I am putting the idea is that there should be a good agency, governmental or non-governmental agency, to validate the every online knowledge resources, and it will be helpful to the researchers. I am concluding my paper here. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have lots of time for questions, even if we want to finish it by 5. And thanks for keeping it short. We can have a lively discussion. So the two papers were in some ways targeting the first two things, access and quality, right? So, and this is the access part in particular. We have been talking right from the beginning, from Professor Burgess's lecture, that how can we ensure that people from different backgrounds, people who have been speaking different languages, have been taught in different languages in undergraduate or at least in school, how do we bring them in when the technology that we are developing is mostly English centric? And the first paper kind of addresses that. Second paper, on the other hand, brings up a very, very important aspect of it, which is quality. Though a question which is related in some ways about validating that quality. So it's not important that we have quality material, but in some ways it relates back to new learners, new users of technology. How do they know which source to believe, which source to use, right? And particularly when the different knowledge banks and databases that we have are quite democratic, like Wikipedia. where anyone can put anything. So how do we understand what is actually the correct one or the right one to use? The second paper goes into that. So I open it up for you to ask questions, comments. And I saw a hand up very early on, around about there. Okay, so we get the first question.
I have one question for both of you. Let me just go with the second paper which you were talking about. Validation is not possible, you said. But you can just correct me if I am wrong, but when it is an open source and the internet information is available, your access is open and it is free. The same way you have the right to also upload it, so that is also free. So with respect to that ethics, you cannot go in for validation, but yes, you can ask for authentication of information. But authentication of information can be possible if something is institutionalized or if something is taking over responsibility of it. As such, for an open source, that cannot be done. And if you are talking about government or private, already Google is monitoring your search, because the time you enter into your Google search, it will show you options of how it has analyzed your psychology and it is giving you options out. So that is going on in one sense, but then a government cannot actually get into validation because this is a very complicated process.
Do you want to answer right away? Shall we take a few more questions? Maybe? More questions? No? Okay, in that case, why don't you answer? Maybe that will lead to more questions.
We could see some of the examples in other countries. They created some of these validation agencies in several areas, in like agricultural area, especially for some of areas. Then I put this idea for become in an overall areas to a coordinated system of this validation.
Which country in specific?
I think the Japan or like that.
It's Japan.
Okay. Maybe if I can add a little bit to that. You're right, absolutely right. I mean, that's what I said at the very beginning. It's a very democratic space, right? So anybody can put in anything that they want. And expecting a government or any other agency to validate authenticity is impossible. But I think what he has in mind is very selective knowledge. So if it is about, let's say, agricultural sciences, is it possible to have maybe agricultural sciences association to have a website where scientists who are actually working on them, that puts up their papers, their information, their resources, so it's not necessarily someone actually monitoring it, but it's validating in the sense that you know that these are the real people working in that particular area. Similarly, for example, there are sites, let's say, some of the well-known hospitals in US and even the medical councils and so on and so forth. They have their own websites where they actually put in information which we would probably believe more than any other random information that's there. So, community development programs also, sure.
Spreading all the.
My question is, if I am from an academic background and I am writing a paper, then I know that if I take something from Wikipedia, it is not accepted. I have to take something from a published author or from a website which is actually an organization which is in real time working. But then to a common man, like how he is talking of validation of data, he may not even know what validation is and authenticity is when he is looking in for some information. For him, it is actually a need surface based, and for me, it is a want surface based. So the degree of his need is different from the degree of my want. And again, when you are talking about all these validated things, those are done for their particular, there's always an objective behind it, why it is done. So we cannot also ask him for a government or an organization to do the validation also.
But for a layman, Wikipedia is okay also, to some extent. And even for us also, first of all, we are going to Wikipedia, then to satisfy everybody else, we go to some other source. The first thing you also go to, you are going to go to Wikipedia.
So I guess this being a democratic space, that itself is a check.
Yeah.
Because everyone can look at it and everyone
And
can.
it's not at all wrong.
No, there are enough instances of where things are wrong. In fact, I remember, now that the election cycle in the US is going on, there was Ron Paul's candidacy at some point of time a few years back, where his followers changed the whole Wikipedia, overnight, right? So those things can happen, but nevertheless people do spot, do figure out, and so you're absolutely right. For a person who's starting off going to the internet, there's no way to know. And that's where I guess to a certain extent what we have been talking about all throughout, that blended learning is very, very critical. There's being a human element, being a person who can help you to understand this whole thing is important.
I have one question for you, ma'am. Like you are talking of Socrative app and it is English kind. So when you are asking for a Hindi medium and a Urdu medium, so the questions you type Hindi language in the English alphabet. That's how you.
No. See, it's a heterogeneous class. Now, for instance, if I'm having 10 students English medium, 10 Hindi and 10 Urdu, but my typing will be one question at a time, and that will be only in one language. And if that question, and you have to give the instant answer. So if the Urdu medium one doesn't understand my question, so he might be knowing the answer, but because of the language being a barrier, he will not be able to answer.
So if I understand, if I am from
but there are other apps which have the facility of translating. But if I'm giving you an online quiz, rapid fire round, for instance, you have seen KBC, question and the answer. The question and the answer, few seconds to answer. Fine. Then you are not getting that much time, because time utility is also another important factor. So that time, if you are going to go to some other app, then going to translate, or you ask a friend or whatever, so it will another consume some portion of your time. And by that time, I'll go to jump to question number 3.
So my question is, if I'm an Urdu or a Hindi medium student, though I am digitally literate, then I don't belong to the subset of test which you conduct at all.
Like what I have studied in my, that is my finding. That is the finding of my study. That is what I have told you.
Alright. No other questions? Last chance. Should we do a KBC round or something like that?
Yeah. one second for that.
We'll have to ask the organizer, what's the prize money? Huh? He seems to be busy with something.
So?
No. Alright, then in that case, I guess we are done. Thank you everyone. It's been a very interesting day. We still have one more day to go, and to keep following the project space, there are a lot of interesting work going on. We are creating different courses in 4 different areas. Also, there are several research projects that's going on, and soon be able to find out results from these different research on the project website. Right? Thank you.
Thank you.